been like 4 hours that we do each and every day. You can catch up in the podcast wherever your podcasts are found, and make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. All right, so we saw the Lions last night beat the previously undefeated Seattle Seahawks 42-29. Jared Goff had a decent game. He was, let me put it this way. Jared Goff had more receiving touchdowns last night than he did incompletions.
Very good way to put it.
Jared Goff had more receiving touchdowns than he did incompletions last night. The quarterback for the Lions, 18 of 18.
Perfect.
Everyone saw that.
So why doesn't he have a perfect passer rating? Like, he doesn't have a perfect passer rating, but he didn't throw an incompletion, a couple of touchdown passes.
Yards, maybe?
He threw for 292 yards.
I don't know. I'm just trust me. When I played, I was far away from a perfect passer rating.
That was the thing that I thought was bizarre. The fact that he didn't have a perfect passer rating and he didn't get a game ball despite not throwing any incompletions.
That game ball.
Well, there's a reason.
Because his coach didn't know.
Dan Campbell, tell us why. Head coach of the Lions.
Yeah, well, I just gave the game ball to somebody else, so I feel awful right now.
Not the safety. So.
Yeah. No, I knew he played a heck of a game. I did not realize he was perfect. I did not know he was literally 18 for 18. I mean but I knew he played really well. You could feel it, and he really found his rhythm early. And I thought he was seeing the field. Played with rhythm. He had to move a little bit in the pocket. I thought what really kickstarted him is he had to kind of move in the pocket, got spun around, and hung with J-Mo and hit him on the hook for the first down. It was big, man, because he was rolling after that. But just a number of huge throws, played with poise, got us in the right play. It was a heck of a play down in the red zone on the catch. Good throw by Saint. Been working that. So I just thought it was excellent.
He was excellent. Perfect. In fact, as we just outlined, Kurt Warner held the previous NFL record for passes without an incompletion, 10 for 10 in 2005. So it's been a minute, and Jared Goff obviously exceeded that. But I think it's interesting that his coach did not know he was perfect and that he gave the game ball to somebody else. Can you retroactively give somebody another game ball?
No.
Has that ever happened?
No, it's not the same. I mean, coaches have done it. It's just not the same as getting it in the locker room right after the game is over.
With all your peers?
Exactly. I don't want to get the game ball on Tuesday or Wednesday when we get back together. I want the game ball right after the game. So when I walk out to meet my family, my friends in the tunnel, I got the actual game ball with me. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I know Jared Goff said it doesn't really matter after the game. He said we just care about getting the win, which is what you want your franchise quarterback to say. But I wonder if in that moment, secretly inside, he's like, what else did you expect from me, coach? I'm not going to get the game ball. I was perfect.
They were great last night. Goff was great last night. Gibbs, as you predicted yesterday, CC was great last night. When they needed big plays, every time Seattle got close, they had big plays. Jameson Williams had a big touchdown during the course of that game. But I want to go here. Last year, the Lions were in the NFC Championship game. Last year, we all sat there and said, what an amazing year for the Detroit Lions. Jovante, shout out to you, back from vacation, and he's back off of a Lions win. He was holding out until the Lions won that game, and he's back now. If they get back to the NFC title game this year, and if they lose in the NFC title game, is that a successful season?
No.
So what do the Lions have to do to make us feel like that season that they would be a success?
Get to the Super Bowl.
So it's Super Bowl appearance or bust.
That's the next step in the progression, and I get that, success is not linear in that way all the time, but the Lions are firmly within their window to win a championship. They got a quarterback that's been to a Super Bowl. They got one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in all of football. They got a defense that's trying to round into form, although they didn't cover themselves in glory last night. They did have two consequential takeaways. One that allowed the Detroit Lions to build an early double-digit lead, and then the second one was the one that ended the game. Kirby Joseph had the pick in the end zone. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, their defense is much improved in comparison to the unit that they had last year, and it's only going to get better as those pieces continue to gel. If I'm looking at the NFC as a whole, Smalls, the Detroit Lions are the team that I have the fewest amount of questions about. I think sitting here today, the Detroit Lions and not the Minnesota Vikings are the best team in the NFC. And I fully expect that we will see that at the end of this year on into the playoffs. They have a lot of different ways that they can play in order to win football games. And to me, having that type of versatility bodes well when it comes to being able to get to the championship rounds.
Yeah, and you would hope that the way that their season ended last year, they've learned from that. Dan Campbell's learned from that, but they have that experience. And I don't think that we can default to the laundry in this situation just because the Lions have historically been an inept franchise. I think we need to look at what happened last year and go from there, because I think for some people they would say, oh, back-to-back NFC championship runs for the Detroit Lions, that's great considering where they had been historically. But I'm with you. I think that it's Super Bowl appearance or bust for them based on the talent that they have, the identity that they have, and the experience that they have from last season. You need to have some progression as far as I'm concerned with the Detroit Lions, because just getting back to where they were last year does not feel like enough for a team this talented.
What would stop them from getting to the Super Bowl?
The division?
Just the division? So there's nothing on their roster that we would look at and say, okay, that could stop them. So Minnesota.
No, there's nothing on the roster.
No, I don't think so.
It's not the roster.
Brad Holmes, their GM now, is clear for the rest of the season.
Well, I'm not going to say he's clear. I mean, sometimes you have to fortify strengths throughout the season. I mean, if you feel like your team has the least amount of questions in the conference, why not go out and try to get something that can make you even better?
You know that I can't take the hypothetical of an almost trade without actually going into the trade machine. So
no,
I can't operate.
I understand that, but I mean,
I'm going to melt down.
Can I ask you a question? Can you ever have enough pass rushers?
Okay,
can you ever have enough pass rushers?
So
I mean, with the Marcus Davenport injury that they've been dealing with, like, can you ever have enough pass rushers? Go out and get another pass rusher.
So call Carolina, call New England, just get their best pass rushers.
I mean, we saw what the San Francisco 49ers did at the deadline last year. They went out and traded for Chase Young. Now, I don't know who this year's version of that is. If it ends up being Hassan Reddick with the New York Jets, we'll see.
Ooh,
but I guess my whole point is go out and try to improve on a strength. You've got Aiden Hutchinson, who is one of the best defensive players in all of football. Go out and get another pressure player to be opposite of him to put some heat on the quarterback. You know that you're going to be in the playoffs. You know you're going to have to affect, really good quarterbacks once you get to those rounds. Go do that. I'm just saying that's something that you can put out there. But to your initial question, I think the hurdles for the Detroit Lions to clear when it comes to getting to the Super Bowl, has Dan Campbell learned his lessons when it comes to game management from last year's postseason? So there's that. And then there is the matter of the division, because you do have the undefeated Minnesota Vikings there, because you do have Jordan Love, who for my money is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. You're going to have to deal with those teams, a couple of times apiece. That is not easy.
No.
So I think that's probably the thing that you have to concern yourself with. But from what I saw last night, they have all the elements that you're looking for. I couldn't believe this. They scored 42 points last night on 50 offensive plays. They had 50 offensive snaps. I've never seen anything like that. They had as many points as they did plays. I've never seen that before in the NFL. That is the definition of efficient. This is one of the most explosive offenses in the league, and we knew that coming into this season, but we saw that play out in real time last night. I was impressed with the way that the Detroit Lions won that game last night.
No matter where you are, you can always listen on Sportsmanlike, of course, ESPN app, SiriusXM, Channel 80. Coming up, our power rankings, where CC gives us the challengers to the Chiefs. Who's number one? We'll find out next. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.